3 gunshots go off. They rush to the basement. Dead girl's in the tub. Looks like killer committed suicide. She reports situation is secure. And then what happens next is the most ridiculous. Like how these two are FBI agents, I have no idea. They might as well put you and me in this situation.
No, man, I would do better. I'm not sure. I would do better.
Oh, I would have shot you and the serial killer. Absolutely.
Lights, camera, and action. Welcome to the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. Remember those childhood movies you loved? We're going to watch them again and find out if they're still as amazing as you remember. Let's get ready to join Anna and Jimmy as they go back and watch those movies you remember being oh so awesomely good. Horror movies that scared. Comedy movies that dared.
Damn!
And action movies so preposterously ludicrous that they defied the laws of common sense. Now, here's your hosts, Anna Santos and Jimmy Coates.
Welcome to the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast, and we are done with Halloween. We did Idiocracy last week, and Christmas is right around the corner. Well, us watching Christmas movies is right around the corner, but we've got one Christmas-less movie to go, I think.
Yes.
I don't think there's any mention of Christmas in this movie.
I don't think there is.
No.
It is definitely not. It doesn't take place around Christmas.
Yeah.
Nobody's stressing about buying someone a Christmas present. So
No.
I'd go Christmas free. Yes.
Yeah. Mindhunters from 2004, but released here in 2005. We'll get to that in a second. What do you remember about this movie?
A lot. It's actually one of my comfort movies, but Prime removed it before I had a chance to watch it again.
Pay for it?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's included. No,
Okay,
you don't
good.
have to pay for it.
Yeah, I've been burnt this Halloween. These Halloween movies, I've been burnt pretty good.
Yeah, I know. It's been an expensive season in relation. But anyways, I remember a lot of this movie because I used to watch this movie on the regular. And then I stopped watching, and then it became less regular. And then I stopped watching it for a while. And then it disappeared from Prime. And I was like, well, shit. There was also a big chunk where I didn't see this movie. Like I saw it soon after it came out. And I was like, oh man, that was fun. And then there was like 10 years where I didn't watch it.
Yeah,
And then it came back and I was like, oh my God, I remember this movie.
I remember little bits of this movie. I remember liking it. I remember liking the cast. I love ensemble cast.
It's a great ensemble too.
Yeah, especially if you're from the 80s and 90s. It's there's quite a few people in here.
It's a greatest hits like section.
Yeah, but I didn't go in the theaters and see this.
Oh no.
I this was a rental. I watched it a couple times. And then, yeah, like you, it's been a few years since I've last seen it. But everything I remember about it, I do remember liking it. Now, it is directed by Rennie Harlan, who sometimes a toss-up, but usually pretty dependable direct. I would say like Cliffhanger, Cutthroat Island, which didn't do very well. What else did he do? Blast from the Past. Oh,
didn't he do Deep Blue Sea too? Did he do that as director or producer?
I'm going to tell you right.
He was director.
He was director,
I love Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah, we both like that. We had that one. He directed some Burn Notice, Die Hard 2, Adventures of Ford Fairlane, Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Long Kiss Goodnight, Deep Blue Sea, Cliffhanger. Yeah, so Exorcist, the beginning. Now, I remember they made 2 Exorcist movies the same year.
Mm-hmm.
And one was not bad and one was not good. I can't remember which one this was. But yeah, so he's competent. He's really competent. Like he's not a bad director.
No, he's not known for being shitty, which I appreciate. No. But he's also like what he's really known for is just being entertaining.
Yeah.
Like even like no, everybody can be very honest. Deep Blue Sea is never going to win an Oscar. Okay, no, nobody's ever saying they were robbed,
but it was fun.
but it was fun and it was entertaining, and you end up with moments from it that you will always laugh at, or when it comes up, there's like yeah, Samuel L. Jackson getting his head eaten, like it's beautiful, it's touching, and that's what Mindhunters is to me. Like nobody is gonna say this movie is brilliant. Nobody. However, they will say it is fun. They will say it's ridiculous. They will say it's silly. But they're gonna have a good time. It's impossible to not have a good time watching this movie. And now that I've said that, I'm very afraid that everybody's gonna be like, I did not have a good time. But I'm confident. I'm gonna run with it. I think everybody will have a good time watching this movie.
Well, it was written by two guys, Kevin Broadbent, who wrote The Siege of Jadotville, which is a great movie. It's a Netflix movie. He did Constantine with Keanu Reeves, did Glimmerman, which I actually remember liking. It's Steven Seagal and Keenen Ivory Wayans.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
I remember being good. I've been wrong on several occasions.
We all have, don't worry.
Wayne Kramer, who also wrote Running Scared with Crash Test Dummy there. What's his name?
Do you just say that about Paul Walker?
Paul Walker. And this was a great movie. This is one of my favorite Paul Walker movies. He wrote The Cooler. So the writers are good. And let's quickly talk about the cast, because I'm looking at this and I'm like, we have watched a lot of LL Cool J movies.
Have we? Oh my God, we have.
The Last Holiday.
Deep
Blue Sea.
And now Mindhunters.
And Rollerball, which we have
oh my God, yes.
in our pocket because we haven't. It's one of our, in case something happens, someone gets sick, which we'll probably have to release soon and get a new one because that was a gem.
Yeah, we're going to have to.
And now Mindhunters. So LL Cool J's, but we've seen a lot of him, but it has Val Kilmer, who's awesome.
Yes.
Christian Slater, who's awesome. Eion Baily, who is actually awesome. I'm watching him in the Paramount show From. That creepy.
He's in From?
Yeah, he's.
Oh, I love him. He was great on, Once Upon a Time on ABC. God damn it. He was Pinocchio.
Oh, okay. Of course he was. Where's my gay riff?
Stop it. No.
No, actually, I did. I seen the. Excuse me. I have seen the first season. Of Once Upon a Time.
It started to get a little ridiculous, but I mean, I still have a super crush on Captain Hook. I'm just saying.
But it also has Clifton Collins Jr. You probably don't know his name, but you do know him to see him. He's awesome. Yep. John Lee Miller.
Oh God, I love him.
Kathryn Morris, who's been in tons of shit. What is she known for here? Minority Report, Cold Case. Oh yeah, she's the main girl in Cold Case.
Cold Case is probably what everybody really knows her from.
Yeah, Patricia Velasquez, who's in the whatchamacallit movies?
The Mummy. She was in The Mummy Returns and The Mummy.
Oh, that's right. She
buddy.
Why did I think she was in the car one?
Fast and Furious?
Yeah.
I don't think she's done Fast and Furious. No. You might be thinking of Michelle Rodriguez.
But she was also the love interest in Arrested Development. Yeah, she's been in Beowulf, The Mummy. Yeah, she's been in quite a few too. So it's got a great cast. Just saying.
For reals, though.
So let's look at the box office. It didn't do too well.
That does not surprise me.
No. Released on May 13, 2005 with a budget of $27 million. Not bad, not little, like for 2004, 2005. That's not a bad budget.
No, it's a reasonable one, actually.
But when you only bring in $4.4 million domestic and $16 million international for a grand total of $21.1 million, it's not good.
No. Look, I knew it wasn't a blockbuster.
No. It released in 1,040 theaters. It still only opened in 10th place behind other openers, first, second, and third place. Monster-in-Law. I don't know if I've seen that.
I have. It's not terrible.
Kicking and Screaming with Will Ferrell, which I do remember liking. It's a kids movie, and Unleashed with Jet Li, which I really remember liking. It stayed in 10th place the following weekend, but then dropped to 21st place for the next 2 weekends after that, until roller coasting for like 8 weeks between 36 and 94. It actually went up and down, but never higher than 36, and the lowest point of 94. So not good. While it released in most countries in 2004, unusually the last market to receive this film was North America in 2005 because of the film's distribution rights being changed from 20th Century Fox to Dimension Films. Wayne Kramer sold the original spec screenplay of Mindhunters to 20th Century Fox. The title of his screenplay was originally called Unsub, Unknown Subject, but Fox executives preferred the title Mindhunters and changed it before the deal was announced to Entertainment Press. Kramer never felt comfortable with the title change because there was already a nonfiction book by John Douglas called Mindhunter, which was turned into one of the great Netflix shows. It only got 2 seasons, but oh my God, is it good.
I have not seen it yet.
Stupid good.
It's part of my Anna, you're unemployed now, so watch everything everybody told you to watch.
This is a good one to watch.
Yeah, and I will be watching it. So, but it was funny because when I was saying, oh, the movie we're going to be watching this week, I was saying this to one of my friends, is Mindhunters. And then they looked at me really confused. And I was like, no, not Mindhunter, the TV show.
Yeah.
Mindhunters, the 2000s movie with LL Cool J. And they were like, there's a 2000? What? And I was like, yeah, it's a gem, my friend. It's a gem.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the other one's a David Fincher, I think. I think it's David Fincher. Masterpiece. This, I have a feeling, is a guilty pleasure.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Rennie Harlan was originally tasked to direct the film adaptation of A Sound of Thunder, which is such a bad movie, but so well done. And the effects are so above average that I liked the movie. It was based on a Ray Bradbury short story, but left to helm this movie instead. Gerard Butler was set to play the role of Lucas Harper, but dropped out to star in Timeline. I remember like that movie too. That's one where they go back to like Britain, right? With the knights and the sieges and all that shit with Paul Walker, I think.
Well, shit. Paul Walker is making a lot of appearances in this podcast.
Not anymore.
Stop it.
He's dead.
You be nice to Paul Walker.
I did like Paul Walker. I was kind of bummed that he died.
Yeah.
He was the only, he was my favorite thing about Fast and Furious. Well, that's not true. I like The Rock and I like what's the British guy there?
Jason Statham.
Yeah.
I do like the additions of those guys.
Vin Diesel gets a little preachy. Ryan Philippe was also considered for the part before Johnny Lee Miller eventually signed on. Philippe?
Wait. Ryan. I've always said Philippe.
His then wife, Reese Witherspoon, was offered to play Sarah Moore, but she turned it down. And Kathryn Morris was later cast. Christopher Walken, Martin Sheen, and Gary Busey, our friend Gary Busey, were all offered the part of Jake Harris, but they rejected the film before Val Kilmer agreed to do the movie. If Gary Busey is rejecting your movie...
No, but here's the thing. If Gary Busey had done this movie, it might have actually ended up way better.
It could have, yeah.
If you really think about it, if you remember enough of the story, Gary Busey being Jake Harris probably would have made this movie better.
Yeah, Gary Busey makes everything better. I watched an interview, a recent interview with him. He's insane. He's insane, and he's awesome. Mindhunters was filmed entirely in the Netherlands. Locations included Amsterdam Noord, The Hague, Delft, Beach Town, Zandvoort, training village of the police academy in Oostendrecht, and Rado Kutwijk on the new Villeheth lands of Gelderland province. Jesus, you Viking fucking weirdos. Post-production of the film was moved to England to decrease the budget. Filming and production went from January to September 2002. That's a long production.
Holy crap.
January to September. Yet the film was not released until 2004, 2005, our way. During the editing process, Harlan toned down much of the violence in order to secure a PG-13 rating in the States. Yet the MPAA felt that the overall tone of the film was too dark and still issued an R. Following this, Harlan said, "Fuck you guys," and reinserted all the deleted scenes.
Perfect.
Yeah, good for you.
Well, if you're going to get an R anyway, you might
as well.
Log. Like, let me just R the crap out of this.
All right, let's go to the tail of the tape. May 13th, 2005, here, 2004, everywhere else. It is a mystery and thriller / crime / drama. That's just what Rotten Tomatoes told me. It is rated R, thank goodness, and comes in at a 1 hour and 46 minutes. That's great for horror movie. Hour and a half is fine. Hour and 25 minutes is fine. A thriller, I don't want an hour and 20 minutes. That doesn't tell me there's much of a story there.
Yeah, you need
hour and 46. It seems good.
Yeah, you also don't want 2 hours because then you're like, oh, you're going to give me too much information.
Yeah, you want if it's going to be longer, it's got to be really good.
Yeah.
Mindhunter taglines.
Let's go.
For 7 elite profilers, finding a serial killer is a process of elimination, their own.
That's terrible.
That was the only one. Yeah,
oh my God. No wonder it made no money.
Synopsis. FBI agent Jake Harris, Val Kilmer, escorts a group of cadets to a remote island for simulation training. The cadets, under the leadership of J.D. Christian Slater, will try to catch an imaginary serial killer within the island's elaborate facility. The FBI, however, is suspicious of Harris's methods and dispatch Gabe Jensen, LL Cool J, to act as an outside observer. What he finds is a simulation exercise that becomes dangerously real and training that becomes a fight for survival. Yeah, with this cast and that, it sounds great.
It was on the path to success. It obviously veered off the path at some point.
Yeah, something went wrong.
Yeah.
And here's the poster. I didn't know which was which because these are both movie theater posters. The first one is that tagline for 7 elite profilers, finding a serial killer is a process of elimination, their own. It's on both posters. The one is a big eye, and then it has this like fade of everyone walking towards something and the helicopter behind them. Mindhunters, LL Cool J, John Lee Miller. Great poster. I like that one. The next one has LL Cool J front and center because in the 2000s, the early 2000s, LL Cool J was on everything.
The ladies were loving Cool James.
Yeah, and you have Val Kilmer in the distance. You have Christian Slater behind LL Cool J, and you have Cold Case herself flanking
Kathryn
on the
Morris.
left. Yeah,
and then there's a figure in the back holding a gun that you
who's obviously
cannot
the killer.
distinguish who it is.
Yeah,
it's still good, but you can tell. One is for domestic. That's the one with all the stars where you can very clearly see them. And LL Cool J is up front.
Yeah,
Christian Slater's face is bigger. Val Kilmer's face is clear, but
the
not.
other one
and then they have to put the other one is very much ensemble. Yeah, a little artsy. That's the international one.
I like the international one better.
I mean, the international one is definitely one that you put on your wall.
Yeah.
The domestic one is one that you put on the inside of the closet door because you want to look deeply into Christian Slater's eyes.
Yeah. For those listening, we were supposed to do Pump Up the Volume.
Yeah.
But due to technical difficulties, like trying to find it on eBay, we're doing Mindhunters.
Well, I will point this out. We saw Pump Up the Volume on
Yes,
Prime.
we both did see it on Prime.
It was there. And we were
then,
like, fantastic. After we're done the Halloween movies, we're going to pump up the volume.
Yeah.
We go to look for it. It's gone. So we picked another Christian Slater movie.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And one that we both actually remember liking. So,
yeah.
Now, speaking of that, 118 critic reviews comes in at 25%, 25, a quarter of 100. 25,000 audience comes in at 57. So while not great, much higher than the critics.
And not embarrassingly low.
No. Critic consensus is a retread of 10 Little Indians that lacks the source material's wit. I know of 10 Little Indians. I don't think I've seen it. And it kind of makes me want to see it.
It's based on a book by Agatha Christie, which now you can purchase with the title "And Then There Were None."
Because that showed up a lot in the reviews. Yeah, the Agatha Christie.
There is a lot of racism in the titles of the book because it wasn't originally 10 Little Indians. It was, I think, originally 10 Little N-words. I remember Agatha Christie, I think she wrote the book in like the 1930s, 1940s in England. So
I bet you if you can find that book, it's worth a mint.
Then they changed it to 10 Little Indians, and then they changed it to something else. And they changed some parts of the book. Like they tried to be a little less racist.
Well, when it's called 10 Little N-words.
Yeah, but that actually comes from like in the book. And I think they actually use it here in this movie as well, if I'm remembering correctly. I could be wrong. But there's a statue that has 10 figurines on it, each one representing one of the guests there.
Oh, you have seen this movie a lot.
No. This is And Then There Were None. It's one of my favorite books of all time, and I've also watched all of the movies that have been made based on it. So if we're going to talk about And Then There Were None, I can't remember if they actually, I feel like they did, but I can't remember for sure if they used that in the movie. But as people die on this remote island where everybody's stuck, they take one of the figurines from the little statue on the table out. So people wake up in the morning, they're making a cup of coffee, they walk into the room, see the table, and they're like, shit, someone else died. It's missing another one. That's literally, and then they go off to find bodies.
Let's clear this up for everybody. Your favorite book is 10 Little N-Words?
No, my favorite book is And Then There Were None.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I think Anna has that book.
I don't have the original.
What a conversation starter at those parties.
They stopped printing it. But also, it is a really great conversation starter because there are still people who are running around saying they never should have changed the title. And you're like, it's okay to be like, yo, Agatha Christie was a little racist because she was a white British woman in the 1930s/40s.
Yeah, it's not unheard of. Like, oh my God, they were racist.
It would have been surprising if there was no racism. That would have been the shock.
All right, let's start.
Like Agatha Christie,
Well, she's very popular. She's popular writer.
Incredibly good. Miss Marple is one of my favorite characters in all of literature for my entire life. It's so good. Anyways.
All right, let's start with the positive, and you may go first. Oh, there we go.
A silly retread of And Then There Were None, only with the most inept crew of budding profilers. Morris is bland and Lee Miller's accent is atrocious, but the deaths are solid. Mindhunters isn't a good movie, but it is a fun movie. Joe Lipset, Horror Queers podcast, 3 out of 5. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate your honesty.
Yeah, the Horror Queers podcasts seem to be on a lot when we use them. I tend to agree with them.
Yeah.
So here's hoping. A cool, scrappy B movie with no pretensions. Marty Mapes, Movie Habit, 2.5 out of 4.
Interesting. More so than any other action director, Harlan is able to take mediocre and often outlandishly stupid scripts and punch them up into endlessly watchable guilty pleasure gold. James Kendrick, Q Network Film Desk, 3 out of 4. Interesting.
Schlocky and fun. Kim Morgan, Real.com, 2.5 out of 4.
Straight to the point. At least it's better than Harlan's last film, that dreadful Exorcist prequel. Kevin Carr, 7M Pictures, 3 out of 5.
I know. One of them was not bad, and one of them was just not great. Maybe his was the not great one. I guess
his was the not great one.
Here's the rotten. I will start. And that's what I'm hoping for now, like with the reviews.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to invent the wheel. It just has to be fun. Excessive violence, hysterical directorial overkill, and a cast of mostly glamorous non-actors make this relatively short film seem much longer than it really is. Louis Beale, Film Journal International. Ooh.
It's a little harsh. Its every brain-dead move is designed to cover up the implausible story's beehive of inconsistencies. Jeffrey M. Anderson, Combustible Celluloid, 1.5 out of 4. Wow.
Somewhat of a self-fulfilling title. Jim Chastain, Norman Transcript, a C. Well, C's not too bad.
C's not too bad.
No.
The question is supposed to be, who is the killer? The question that actually emerges, though, is why we should care. Ken Hankey, Mountain Express, 2 out of 10. Ken, usually I think you're kind of on point. I'm a little disappointed in this take.
Yeah, Ken didn't like this movie. It was supposed to open in the spring of 2003, but they kept pushing back the release date. They should have kept pushing. Richard Roper, Ebert and Roper.
Fantastic. Judging by the end product, my guess is after the second or third go-round, he threw up in his hands and tossed the footage into a Cuisinarts. Jeremy C. Fox, Pajiva.
Yeah. There is no necessary tension, no memorable characters, and no sense of fun. Instead, Rennie Harlan just lines up his cast and knocks off their boring asses one at a time. Dustin Putman, thefilmfile.com, 1.5 out of 4.
Wow, Dustin. Promises a sophisticated CSI meets Saw thriller, then shatters that illusion with 4 words. Directed by Rennie Harlan. Kevin A. Ranson, moviecrypt.com, 1.5 out of 4. That feels mean.
Yeah, critics are such bitches. So much fun. All right, Internet Movie Database. 65,000 user rating, comes in at a much better 6.3 out of 10.
Very respectable.
You may start.
You want action and suspense that toys with your mind? Here it is. 10 out of 10. MD Lurt. M-Lurt?
Still one of my favorite movies. 9 out of 10. Anna. No, it's I Panderhout.
It has its flaws, but it's better than a lot of other stuff out there. 8 out of 10. Martine 12.
Nothing new, but entertaining. 7 out of 10. The Little Songbird. Yeah, and that's what I want.
Yeah.
Nothing new, but I'd be entertained. I don't need to be like blown away every movie.
It doesn't have to be a life-changing experience.
No.
And I'm tired of people acting like it needs to be. Enjoyable, but profoundly dumb. 6 out of 10. Neil 476.
Yeah,
I'm not going to disagree with Neil. Yeah.
Ridiculous premise, mediocre script, extremely bad casting. 5 out of 10. No Moons, 11.
Repeat after me. Don't go see any movie with LL Cool J in the theaters. 4 out of 10. Movie man Kev. I mean, Kev, I'm not going to argue with you about that.
No. Yeah.
That is not the hill I want to die on, but I mean, fine.
Should be renamed Plot Hunters. 3 out of 10. Buddy Baba.
Amazing. Phenomenally stupid. 2 out of 10. V Freyman.
And the number 1 out of 10. This is a great film if you're an idiot. 1 out of 10. Truth in Review.
That's a little harsh. But
That is a little harsh.
True.
All right, let me find. I should have got this ready. My bad.
Good evening, my fine young FBI friends. All right, I'm a pretty little thing, just out of lit class, and my parents are loaded as per my expensive ensemble.
Rafe, you're up. Black suit, blonde hair, on the prowl for pretty young things. Preferably a cheerleader with great big... Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
They are the FBI's newest profilers.
You're all smarter, you wouldn't be here. I just want you to be smarter.
Trained to get into the minds of the most elusive serial killers.
This is Detective Jensen. He's gonna be working with you.
Who wants to play some hide and seek?
What do we know about him?
We know he's just out of a bad relationship. He's barely looked twice at me and Sarah.
Maybe you're not my type.
Trust me, I'm your type.
The simulation will be a test of your teamwork. What it's like to be inside the mind of the sociopath. He's called a puppeteer.
And he has an obsession with time.
Time to look alive.
It's just a simulation.
It's no fun unless it's a challenge.
This is a joke, right?
Someone killed JD, don't you get it? What kind of simulation is this?
Somebody set that trap at 12 o'clock. Someone else is killed.
He's marked us.
Where is this killer?
Someone who knows where we'd be.
Now, someone trained to think like a killer
There's just one problem.
is about to become one.
There's no one here but us.
Are you having fun? I'm having fun.
Two watches, two traps.
What time are they set for?
They're set for now.
They really did light that like an episode of CSI.
Yeah. Yeah. She was just training for Cold Case. That's all she was doing.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
It looks fine. Again,
Yeah.
it looks fine. Like I said, not inventing the wheel here. Nothing overly new. But it does look fun. I like the cast.
I
Cast
like
is
the
great.
cast too.
I don't
And
like how they showed a bunch of people that I like already dying in the trailer. I hate
I
that.
know. It is kind of a, but they thought it was going to up you could tell that trailer was cut to up the suspense.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you could have done it another way that probably wasn't so like expository of like what's in the story. But the guy who's blonde in that is played by Will Kemp. He's the actor. He has been in some of my favorite movies and some of your least favorite movies.
Some of my least favorite movies.
He is now a Hallmark guy.
Oh, is he? Yeah.
But he was also in Step Up 2, The Streets. And that is one of my favorite movies of all time. Also,
I don't think I've seen Step Up 2.
Okay.
I've seen Van Helsing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's done a lot of
The Streets is amazing. He is, I think, like an actually classically trained dancer. Like he can actually dance, but he's done a lot of like Hallmark movies now. He's usually either royalty or dancing in them. Sometimes he's dancing royalty, and that's beautiful. But yeah, he's one of my favorite people. I love him. God, I hope he's not problematic.
All right, I think I'm gonna like it just based on the actors and the trailer. I think it's gonna be all right. Might not be my favorite movie, but I think it's gonna be all right.
I think it'll definitely be one of my favorite movies, probably because it's a comfort movie for me. And it's one of those where, like, yes, people are dying horrible deaths, but they do so through friendship.
Yeah, and hopefully the deaths are cool. Like it is.
I remember one being super cool, and it made me very kind of like, ew. Oh God, that would be gross. Yeah. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah. All right. We are going to go watch Mindhunters, not Mindhunter, Mindhunters. And when we get back, we are going to review it.
You heard them. Movie time. Let's all go to the lobby and get ourselves a treat. And then watch a classic kick-ass movie from whenever the one we're about to watch was made.
And did you watch 2004's Mindhunters?
Yeah, I did.
And what's your initial thoughts?
This is one of the dumbest movies I've ever seen in my life. Oh my God, was it fun?
Yeah, this is a bad movie. It's actually a horrible movie, but it's shot with such style and paced so well, and the actors are great in all their horrible script dialogue glory.
Oh my God, yes.
Jonny Lee Miller's accent is really atrocious.
His accent is absolutely terrible, and I have never seen, like, I don't know what the director said to him, but the director probably looked him dead in the eye and was like, look, you need to make it super obvious. You're the one that's so unhinged that you're killing everybody.
Yeah. But it's not so bad. It's good because it looks great. It's acted well or above average. The cast is great, bad dialogue or not. This is really a guilty pleasure.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
But it's a bad movie.
Yeah. No, this is not a movie you can say, oh, everybody will love it because it's so terrible.
No.
It's amazing. It's not that.
It's not that.
It has a very niche market for people who are going to like it. And, oh man, you got McDonald's?
Yeah, the kids want a McDonald's. I only have it very, very seldom.
But anyways, sorry. I haven't had dinner yet, obviously. So, yeah, no, there's a very niche market, but it's just, there's so much cheese and cliche and just like there's almost a pretentiousness to it. Like they didn't know what kind of movie the director and the cinematographer were shooting. The actors had a whole different concept of what kind of movie they were shooting. And the melding of them just makes my little heart happy.
Yeah. All right. Well, okay. Let's go over Mindhunters. So, because Wikipedia starts way, way later into the movie. So we start with JD and Sarah investigating area looking for two missing girls. I forgot about this completely, and I kind of bought into it. Like I bought into what they were trying to do here. They take turns going to each house and asking questions. Does not seem like a very FBI way of doing things. Investigating missing persons, most likely by a serial killer, as one person goes to the house while the other waits in the car.
And falls asleep in the car. Let's remember that.
Yeah, so I made a note. She's been waiting so long, she fell asleep.
But I will say this before we get to JD and Sarah in the car. The entire credits, like opening montage, is basically very like underwater, someone underwater, and then you hear like underwater screams and things like that. And they take the audio of that into the movie when you see Sarah for the first time. Her eyes are closed, and they kind of lower the volume on it and make it seem more like further away. And I'm like, oh, that was actually really good, because then you think she's having a nightmare. It's her nightmare. Oh, okay, that makes sense. And that was the best piece of artistry in this movie.
And that's what I don't know if this is Rennie Harlin's gift to take shitty movies and do it with such panache.
Right.
Like, and makes them like he did it with Deep Blue Sea, and I'm guessing Nightmare on Elm Street 4. Just he has a knack from taking mediocre or shit and making it fun. Like,
yeah.
Well
it's
done.
This entire movie, like before we really get into the genius of how this movie starts, this entire movie is very stylized.
Oh, yeah.
Very and super 2000s.
Yeah.
Super. And I appreciate that so much, because they were like, the entire movie will feel this way. And there's a continuity to it. And I really appreciate that. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah. Because if this movie was done by a better director, one, a better director wouldn't do this movie. Two, if it was done by a worse director, it would have been so horrible. It would have been so shitty.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really starting to appreciate Rennie Harlin as a director.
Honestly, though, I think if this movie had a better script, it could have been a classic.
Oh, it could have been. Yeah. It could have been. Yeah.
It could have been a class. The script let it down.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The script's horrible. And I went on about how the writers of this movie were pretty good. They suck. Yeah. So she's fallen asleep in the car. The thought of something wrong happening to her partner never enters her mind.
No.
She just decides to grab a few Z's.
Correct.
I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So JD returns to the car and startles her by banging on the window, and she proceeds to bitch that he took forever. Never dawned on this FBI agent who's training to be a profiler that her partner may have been in trouble or even dead.
Correct.
And she's like, took you long enough. So they go to the next house. That looks like the house from Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
You thought that too?
Yeah, like this whole fucking house was a red flag. I'd be like, I don't care who's fucking, I'm not going up there alone.
Oh, 100%.
I would have knocked on the door. I would have shot through the door and then asked if there's anyone home. Yeah, and because I'm not a profiler and I do not work for the FBI, but even I could tell you something nefarious is or will be happening in this house.
Look, that house screams serial killer.
Yeah.
So I don't even understand why they were stopping at other houses. All they had to do was ride down the street and be like, oh, look, serial killer house. Let's start there.
Yeah. Get on the radio. Yeah. We found them.
They could have been done before dark.
Yeah. Yeah. We're not going in. We're waiting for you.
Yeah.
JD is like, well, your turn. And yes, you are correct. JD is another spirit animal of mine. Because I'd be like, wow, that house looks like death. Good luck, honey. Let me know what happens. Sarah knocks on the door, seemingly ignoring the windows covered up with newspaper. And creepy as shit music box is playing from inside.
And like, the amount of garbage that's just around.
That's serial killer 101. Come on.
Right?
Yeah. Save money and give your lair that creepy you'll never be leaving vibe. Leave garbage everywhere. Play some music box music and newspaper over the windows. She finds a car that matches the description, new paint, plates, and goes back to her partner, tells him this is the house. They decide they'll leave to make it seem like they're leaving. Screams are heard. They enter the house, and then she goes into a room full of mutilated cats and dogs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Second red flag.
And then JD meets her in that room.
Meets her in that room.
But
Yeah.
the funny thing is, as they're walking through this house, I'm assuming to clear it, and possibly, I don't know, find the person who was screaming. I made a note, and my note was, I would not trust either of them to save me. And I made that note before they even encountered anybody.
Yeah.
I was like, your hands are shaking. You're not properly clearing any rooms. You're just randomly opening doors. You're on your own. So nobody's watching your back in this big, giant serial killery house. I'm like, guys.
Usually there's a stack of room clothes. How about you? Top floor. I'm not like to let them know, you're not
some
dead.
kind of communication. Also, why are you splitting up and going to opposite ends of the house?
Yeah.
When the house is that big and it has that many doors.
Yeah.
Someone needs to be behind you.
Yeah. Then they get to the creepy dining room table, no electricity, cobwebs and dust with a big pink birthday cake and flies buzzing around.
Yeah. Also super normal.
Yeah.
I'd be waiting for backup outside. That's just me.
Yeah, me too. And then you hear more screams and now they're starting to get suspicious. 3 gunshots go off. They rush to the basement. Dead girl's in the tub. Looks like killer committed suicide. She reports situation is secure. And then what happens next is the most ridiculous. Like how these two are FBI agents, I have no idea. They might as well put you and me in this situation.
No, man, I would do better. I'm not sure. I would do better.
Oh, I would have shot you and the serial killer. Absolutely. The serial killer gets the drop on her and stabs her and takes her gun. JD, starts firing wildly, shooting her and the killer, and then getting himself shot. I could have done that. I most likely would have done that. And you didn't even have to train me. Then the lights go on. It click. I'm like, okay, because I'm going, what the fuck's going on?
No, but wait,
here?
You're missing the most magical part of this. After everybody gets shot, everybody drops down and plays dead.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, because I remembered that this was a training exercise.
By now, I am aware that this is a training exercise.
But I had forgotten that they all play dead. So while they're playing dead, I'm like, what the fuck are they doing?
Yeah.
What the fuck are they doing? What the fuck are they doing? Because it also seems, even if they weren't in a training exercise, that just seems ridiculous. So we're just going to stay on screen and watch them for like 30 seconds, laying there pretending to be dead. And then they all slowly, like their eyes flutter open. They all slowly rise.
Yeah.
And then they get into like regular, like normal speed. And I was sitting there going, okay, I understand you want to play dead for like a hot minute so that the audience, the first time they're seeing it, they're, they get sucked in and they think it's a real situation. Cool. Why does everybody like slowly flutter their eyes open like they're really waking up from being shot?
Yeah.
I'm like, that makes no sense.
No, none at all. Not this. Yeah.
But
like
the actors were dedicated to that bit. They were like, yeah.
Yeah, this is an FBI training simulation. This isn't some sort of theater college, community college theater, whatever the fuck it is. Also, what else was I going to say? I really did think that it was, they get the drop and because I'm going, okay, maybe they get the drop on the serial killer and that's why they get picked to be profilers. No, nothing that intelligent. Yeah. And yeah, like you said, and for simulation, everyone involved was so committed.
They were really committed to the bit.
Like, does the FBI have acting classes for its cadets? Because they were really good. And yes, you're right. Like, this was to trick the audience into think it was real and then reveal it was a simulation. But yeah, you really don't have a high opinion of your audience's intelligence, do you, Rennie Harlan? But it was fun. Again, it was fun and funny.
It was a lot of fun. It was funny. And it's funny because the part you can laugh at I'm going to slowly wake up like someone really actually shot me or I was in a coma. You can laugh at that. And I did because I was like, that's fucking ridiculous. Come on, guys. But I'm like, if they had because I spent the entire movie going, if they had just done this, it would have made it better. They had just done this.
Yeah.
Like it's like they were always 3 steps behind the good scene,
Yeah.
And I was like, God, guys. And I think that's why I'm so addicted to this movie.
Yeah, and this is my note. This is a running theme for this entire movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ludicrous, nonsensical at times, overacted, melodramatic, plot holes everywhere, but so much style. And I have panache. Yeah, making it all fun. Some people like reading poetry. Some people like classical music and fine wines. And some people, like the ones who like Mindhunters, still like coloring with crayons, even though they still color outside the lines.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with crayons.
I just got a How the Grinch Stole Christmas coloring book.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, all of us got one, so I'm guessing I have to sit at the table with all the children and color. Since I got my own coloring book. Awesome.
As you should.
Yeah. And then poo-poo their shitty coloring and show them my awesomeness. Okay, so Harris, Val Kilmer, gives them shit while eating cake.
Which is
about
weird
everything
in
they
itself.
did wrong. Yeah. And continues the next day with his class announcing their final exercise on a remote island.
But we need to highlight what Harris said. Because Harris said while he's eating his cake, when is this situation secure?
Oh, that's right. On the way home.
And Sarah says, on the way home. He's like, that's right. On the way home. Now, it's very important to keep that in mind because it comes back.
Yeah.
Because this is the movie of repetitions.
Yeah.
They love repeating things.
The Mindhunters are a group of FBI agents who are training as profilers. Their instructor, experienced profiler Jake Harris, that's Val Kilmer, employs a training approach that consists of assigning them to variants of real investigations, including elaborate sets, props, and actors to play out each scenario. No shit. That was some dedication. Oh my God.
That was a lot. And I'm going to tell you right now, I highly doubt that the FBI actually trains anybody like that. I'm just going to put that out there.
Yeah. Yeah. It was quite a production.
It really was.
The student group is made up of Bobby, Vince, Nicole, Sarah, Rafe, and Lucas. Alongside Harris is JD, an experienced agent who leads the experienced agent. He was fucking horrible in that scenario. There was nothing experienced about JD. He got in a simulation, got so worked up he shot his partner multiple times while he tried shooting the fucking serial killer. That's what I'm like. Oh, this movie's awesome. I hope it stays this way. And it did not disappoint.
I think it's literally like he's just worked in the FBI longer than everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
By like 6 months.
Yeah.
They made him like the lead agent because they were like, you got here like 2 months before us, guy. You're awesome. You have so much experience.
So he leads the group and is secretly Nicole's lover. Nearing the end of their training, the group's morale is high. However, Vince discovers that neither he nor Sarah will make the rank of profiler after secretly reading their training evaluation. So they're at the bar.
Yes.
I like this scene. They're profiling patrons, betting on who can pick up women quicker.
Who is who at the bar, who's looking for what. Some of them are getting it wrong. Some of them are getting it very right. You
Bobby.
See their personalities.
Yeah, and you see their personalities. Yeah, exactly. Bobby profiles this blonde. Obviously, she's high maintenance, has expensive shoes. She's younger, so he says she's probably getting money from daddy still. He goes in as a banker or financial person. She's immediately interested. Rafe is going on about this guy with the ponytail being into blonde bimbos with big giant hooters. Then another dude comes in and they kiss, and haha, he's gay.
They're like, big giant what?
Oh, but yeah, it did give you it was a good scene. It let you get to know the characters a bit.
Yeah, and you kind of saw who is insecure, who's uncomfortable with their place in the group. You know, you see like Sarah is a little quieter.
And I don't want to be insensitive.
Okay.
But who's letting a guy in a wheelchair go out into the field and chase serial killers? What happens if you're in like a chase? I just keep seeing Family Guy with Joe Swanson in his wheelchair.
God. People in wheelchairs can be profilers.
Profilers, yes.
I highly doubt. I don't know exactly. Look, my only like real knowledge of profilers is Criminal Minds.
I was gonna
And I
say
highly
that's all I
doubt
got.
Yeah, I highly
all
doubt
I
that's super accurate. So who knows? Maybe there are some like agents who are profilers who go out into the field in wheelchairs and
Yeah, you're
make a
right.
pass.
I take that back because you know what? If you're going to a scene and you're just observing and looking and thinking, yeah, I'd rather brains over legs.
But yeah. Brains over legs, nice.
Yeah, not me
No, but
personally.
I agree. I don't care how fast you can run. How fast can you think when a serial killer is on the loose? Like that's what I care about.
Yeah. No, I take that back.
Yeah. So I mean, like I get it, but like also you still have to train and you still have to be able to, pass your shooting certification. You still have to pass certain things. Like you have to recertify. You can't just show up and be smart.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. The group travels with Harris and JD to an island off the coast of North Carolina to complete their final training exercise. At the last minute, they are joined by Gabe LL Cool J, an outside observer who requested to see Harris's teaching methods in action. Now, the Navy uses the island to train for hostages rescue and outbreak scenarios, and it features several target dummies, vehicles on mechanical rails, and small town storefronts. Yeah, this was pretty. I know they do have places like this all over.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was cool. It was cool.
I love it. I would totally vacation on an island like that, but I'm weird. FYI. Like I love that kind of ghost town vibe, like the abandoned city. I
Yeah.
love that. So I'm like, that would be so much fun to like stay with a group of friends. I don't know, maybe have a paintball war.
Just
Yeah. But they do really very clearly make it clear, like you guys are the only ones on this island.
Yes.
Like there's nobody else, there's nothing else. Be careful who you're shooting. You're going for the enemy.
Yeah. Harris plans on using the town for their final exam, tracking the puppeteer, who is a serial killer in the scenario. The team settles down and practices their profiling skills. There it is revealed that Gabe is also a skilled profiler in his own right. Sarah and Lucas briefly bond over losses in their families. Sarah's sister was murdered and drowned years before, creating a fear of water in Sarah, while Lucas' parents died when he was 10. That comes up later, too.
Yes, they have some really great conversations. I like the back and forth where they're kind of profiling Gabe and making him sound a little shitty. And then Gabe's like, oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Let's play this game. And I was like, thanks, Gabe. Thank you. Also very attractive, most of these people.
Most of them. And LL Cool J, always in shape.
Oh, God. He
always looking good.
He always looks, it's really starting to get on my nerves.
And this is one of his more, this was a very cool, even in his shitty movies, he comes across as very cool. And he's always in shape. So, yeah,
he is a very charismatic person.
Yeah. Yeah, he is. And yeah, he never phones it in.
No. He dedicates himself to whatever, like
no matter how shitty the movie is, he does.
He's in it to win it.
Yeah. You paid for LL Cool J, you're gonna get fucking LL Cool J. Okay, so the following morning, the group finds a dead cat with a broken pocket watch in its mouth. Later, during the investigation of the puppeteer scenario, JD dies after triggering a mechanism that, yes, okay, so they go in and JD actually says, let's see, we're in a scenario. This is our test. Might as well see what it does. And then this whole big elaborate dominoes thing goes, the marble, and sets off this was a cool death.
It was
very
cool death. And it was especially cool because we see him naked the night before.
Oh, yeah, we forgot the night before.
Yeah, we forgot the night before. Because everybody's hanging out, whatever. Then we see JD in the shower, buck naked. Christian Slater has a great ass. And then what is her name? Nicole joins him, and that's where we confirm that they are lovers.
Yeah.
And they get it on.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And I also made a note, no boobs for Jimmy.
No boobs.
No boobs for you.
R-rated too.
But we got a Christian Slater ass.
We get
so
Christian Slater's
I
ass.
actually thought that was really interesting because like you see him kind of all buck naked. Unfortunately, no full frontal. They didn't want to go for that rating, but the next day you basically see his body come apart in pieces.
Yeah. Yeah, for those
And
listening and can't remember it, do you remember? Yeah, the nitrogen thing
yeah,
shoots off first with his legs.
it's set up to
He
look like
can't
a bottle
move.
of helium,
Yeah,
and then it drops and it busts open, and you see that it's actually the liquid nitrogen that was pointed out by Harris when they were walking in, because they said they use it to mimic Antarctic or Arctic
snow and stuff. Yeah,
yeah. So it freezes his legs. He can't move his legs. Nicole tries to run to him. Gabe grabs Nicole and is like, no, everybody stay back.
and
'Cause-
as he falls, the nitrogen it hits him in different spots, so it
and it
keeps
just keeps
cracking
breaking
pieces
him
off of him.
when
It
his
was very good. I
torso-
did. Yeah, it was. Yeah,
like you see the spine, I'm like, this is fantastic.
and why they were trying to get a PG-13 rating. And thank you, Rennie Harlan, because once they didn't give you that PG-13, you said, and you put everything back in. I'm glad he did.
Me too.
PG-13 would have made this movie worse.
It's so much worse.
Yeah.
Because at least we get cool deaths in it.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
that?
it says here, too, mislabeled helium.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the deaths were actually pretty good. I enjoyed them.
Yeah. All the deaths were fantastic. And I was like, God, this is amazing. Now, if only you had better dialogue.
Yeah. The dialogue's pretty bad. Liquid nitrogen to freeze him instantly. Realizing JD's death is neither accidental nor part of the training simulation, the group heads to the dock to leave the island. But the boat they were going to leave on explodes before they can board. After returning to base, so they head off. They leave the guy in the wheelchair up on the mountain, up on the hill. Boat explodes. 3 of them go into the water.
Yes.
She kind of has a panic attack and just kind of
Actually, she doesn't. She kind of has, like, she freezes in the water.
freezes. Yeah, not a panic
She
attack.
freezes in the water. So like she kind of has a moment for sure. But it's funny because I noticed this because anyways, so Lucas is up front and he's saying something about like not having fear or getting off the island or whatever, like keep moving forward or something like that. And then it blows up. A couple of people go in the water. Sarah's one of the people that goes in the water. She kind of freezes. So she's just kind of like, I guess, in shock in the water for a little bit. Lucas starts pulling her up. She comes to and she's like, what the fuck? So she comes up. She's not panicking. She's not freaking out. She's just, and I was like, oh shit. I've never noticed this part before. But Lucas is freaking out and he's all like, you're out of the water. Don't worry. You're out of the water. I got you. You're out of the water. And like really pointing out that she has a problem with water. And I'm once you've watched this back a couple times, you're like, wow, this is like really super obvious. Why did I not clue in the first time?
Yeah, the first 10 times.
The first 20 times. But I was just like, oh my God, that's so. But this time I was like, she's not freaking out. She's not, she doesn't need to be consoled.
No.
She's kind of pushing you away and being like, stop holding on to me.
Yeah, she did. And you did notice that because he keeps trying to grab her and hold her. And she kind of like brushes him off or
like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting that I caught it this time. And I was like, that's quite the bit of foreshadowing. Amazing. Thank you.
The group realizes that the broken watches and clocks found at each scene point to the fact that there is a real serial killer nearby who has co-opted the exercise and is hunting them down. The killer's MO indicates that they plan to kill someone at a time designated by the broken clocks. After a thorough search of the island reveals nobody else present, the group concludes that the killer must be one of them. Yeah, so you have all these FBI people. They get those, what are they called? Heat sensor. Not goggles, but they had those little.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
and
where they can detect anything with heat. So
yeah.
you see like a raccoon, you see birds fly
Cats.
by.
There's lots of cats.
Cats.
Fucking cats.
Yeah. Suspicions initially point to Gabe as Lucas finds maps and documents of the island in his luggage. While confronting him, they all pass out as the coffee has been drugged. This was actually pretty good because they all pass out and you see, and our actual killer isn't the first one to pass out. He's kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
And he's not the last one to pass out.
Well, and I really appreciate also how everybody just drops.
Yes.
Like they just start dropping and they start figuring it out. And they did really well with everybody having a cup of coffee, except Gabe didn't have a cup of coffee until he took that one sip.
Yes, and they were drinking way before him, so he can't handle his drugs as well as everybody else.
This is so true. This is so true. He's a lightweight. But I was like, where did that coffee cup come from? Because he didn't have one before. And I was like, that's so weird. But I was like, oh, somebody fell asleep in continuity, but that's okay. We forgive you. Because when he did stand up, all of a sudden he was like, pa, timber. And everybody just started going down. And I was like, perfect.
I'm wondering if it's something where like the editor is going, shit, he has no coffee. He has a coffee. Where the rest is the shit you shot? And then they're like, yeah, we didn't shoot anything.
I'm not even joking. I really, really think LL Cool J was the one to be like, shouldn't I have a cup of coffee?
Yeah.
The script says I take a sip.
Yeah. Yeah. They awaken to discover the killer murdered Rafe. Yeah. So they're talking. They're like, who did this? And the one guy's like, I didn't even make the coffee, because they're blaming him. They're blaming Gabe. And he's like, I didn't make the coffee. I didn't even have I was the last one to have a sip. My cup just magically appeared in my fucking hand. Then they go to talk to Rafe and they're like, hey, Rafe. And then his head just plops off.
But it's funny.
No blood.
No. But they also mentioned that, thank God.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
There's a reason for it. Yes.
Yeah. I think it's Lucas who goes and he's like, can you believe this? They're accusing you. They're accusing you. And he like pulls him up and then the head like flops off into Vince's lap in the chair. He backs up. Everybody's freaking out. The little head rolls on the floor and I giggled a little bit. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I was like, that's amazing. But like you see the cut.
Oh, yeah, it's good. It looks great.
It looks great.
Yeah.
Like the cut comes through and you can see, and they put some sort of viscous thing, like they put in that effect. So it looks like it really is coming apart. And then Sarah's the one who's like, there's no blood.
Yeah.
He's been drained of blood. And then you see the numbers and you're like, oh,
They
that's
used
where
all
the
his
blood
blood.
went.
Yeah. I don't know how long. No, they actually showed they were out for quite a while.
They were out for hours.
Yeah.
Like actual hours.
Draining his blood and leaving his severed head on a table, leading suspicions to return again to Gabe. Despite the suspicions, Gabe saves Vince from another trap involving broken water pipes and electrocution. Another great scenario where they go looking for them. They tell him to stay and keep an eye on him. Then the trap is set. Water starts coming in. All the lights dangle. And as soon as it gets to a level, it's going to electrocute him in that chair. He finally gives Gabe the gun. Gabe, very muscularly, swings along the pipes, and he makes his own footing holes by shooting holes and hand. And very. I would have been passed out just coming out of the doorway. Just where he kind of propped himself on the doorway to shoot those holes? I would have been done.
You would have been like, I'm fine
breathing
here.
Yeah, breathing.
I'm fine.
I'm done.
I would never have been able to do that.
Yeah, no.
Most people would not, but God bless. I kind of want to know, like, how many takes did that take? Like, how long was he shooting that? Because that was really fucking impressive. But yeah, when they wake up from their coffee coma, Sarah's trying to solve the puzzle of the numbers and blood. Everybody's like, nah, man, it's Gabe. So they put Gabe into the basement. They put Vince there to watch him. And they're like, Vince, don't take your eyes off him. He's like, yeah, I won't. He's so intense. His character is probably the most hilarious of all of them.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm like, how did you make it through the psychological screening?
Yeah, he was in a different dramatic
100%
movie than these people were.
But it's hilarious to me because Gabe's still trying to talk to him and be like, it's not me. He gives him the story that he's now from the Department of Justice. He's not actually a cop. And people are talking about Harris's thing. Anyways, they go back up. Sarah's trying to solve the number problem. Everybody else is just yelling. She's still trying to solve they're just yelling. And I was like, they managed to just solve it just in time. Because when they woke up from the coffee coma, they had 2 watches there. She manages to figure out eventually with Bobby's help. But I'm like, you know what? If y'all had just shut the fuck up and looked at the numbers like 10 minutes earlier, maybe you wouldn't have had to rush down the stairs and then just stand at the door that's closed out of the water and just like be like, hey, where's Gabe? While Gabe's trying to like scale the walls to turn off the electricity so Vince can go sit in his chair again.
Yeah.
But it was cool.
And he does get it up, and then Bobby comes and turns off the water, triggering the second trap, and he gets arrows.
And the best part
Again.
is our killer is the one who says we should turn off the water.
Yeah. It's very obvious. Because, well, I do remember from watching the movie, I have seen this movie more than once from before, and it was very odd, but this time it was like really obvious.
Really obvious.
Like,
but
wow.
It was funny. It was funny because the very first time I watched it, I remember thinking, what the fuck is wrong with this guy?
Yeah.
Like, he keeps saying stuff like really obviously, or like that makes him look really suspicious. And I'm like, what is wrong with him? You'd think as a profiler, you'd be a lot smoother in conversation. Now we know why.
Now we know. Bobby is instead killed by a secondary trap when he goes to turn off the water. They then discover the killer wrote letters on their clothes that spell Roanoke, referring to the Roanoke colony that disappeared, making them realize the killer is looking to be infamous. I don't think it was Roanoke.
No.
It was Croatoan.
It was Croatoan.
Which was on Roanoke Island.
Correct.
Yeah, which is one of the famous...
That's the word that they found in the Roanoke settlement where the people had just disappeared.
Yeah.
Many theories on what. But Croatoan was like literally carved into like, written and carved into trees and stuff like that. And they were like, what the fuck does that mean? And then there are theories that like it's a virus, it's, you know, a spirit, it's whatever, depending on how kooky you want to be.
Yeah. One of the more likely ones is that there was a tribe who these people went with because they were starving and dying.
Yeah.
And they just went far with them and never really came back to that civilized. Just moved. Yeah. It sucks here. We're moving.
Leave a note for the
leaving, yeah. While examining the bodies, they find Sarah's blood under Ralph's fingernails, and suspicious shifts to Sarah. Yeah, so they've had they were waiting on this blood thing to come back, and they put their guns on the table, and it comes back.
1 hour.
Yeah.
1 hour for DNA results.
That's good.
That's magical.
Yeah, that's really good. They have some good equipment in 2004.
They have good equipment that doesn't even like exist now.
And it's Sarah. So they all take their guns and point it at Sarah, who insists she's being framed. Sarah deduces that the traps are based on their strengths, talents, and weaknesses, just as Nicole becomes the next to die after she smokes a cigarette laced with acid. Yeah, she decides, you know what? I'm going to go be on my own. That way I know I'm not the killer. Anyone comes near me, I'm going to shoot them. And then she finds she's been looking for cigarettes.
She's been trying every cigarette vending machine.
And I think it wasn't just one. I think
all of them. All of them dropped the pack at the same time.
Walked. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that was a cool death too.
Yeah, man. That was probably one of my favorites of this one.
What a shit way to go.
Oh my God, it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. And did I go and light up a cigarette after watching this movie? Yes. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Should I be smoking? No. No, I should not. Did I? Yes. But that's not the point. The point is, it was a gruesome death.
Yeah.
Like her face, her lungs, her hands. It looked so good. And then she just falls into the water. Because I love how the bodies just keep kind of being put away. So like this one goes into the water. The ones in the actual building, they end up going into the walk-in freezer. And it's just, and poor JD, I think they just left him there on the store floor.
Yeah.
I don't think they picked him up.
No. Gross. The island speakers start broadcasting and a taunting message from Harris, making the group realize that he is indeed on the island still. Convinced that Harris is the killer, Sarah, Gabe, and Lucas search for him, only to find him and 2 other agents dead in a hidden storefront. This was great too. They had Val Kilmer propped up like a puppet with all the hooks and shit through his body and his face. And then the music starts playing and it makes him making him smile, and his eyes start getting like opening and closing, and it looked gross.
It was super gross. It was super gross. But I appreciate that, because then he was also bookended by 2 dead FBI agents, and you're just like, oh, perfect.
And you get to see when they finally get there the tape of him saying all this stuff, and he's talking to the serial killer.
It shows that he's been tortured.
Yeah.
Like he is not the instigator. He is not the killer.
No.
Someone else is. And he's giving clues to who it is with what he's saying.
Yes.
Nobody fucking picks up on it.
No. No. Harris has been strung up to wires from the ceiling as a marionette. The three turn on each other after triggering another trap, and Lucas is shot during the ensuing gun battle. Yes, this is where they go outside.
Mm-hmm.
Now so I was at first going, I knew they were trying to make it look like LL Cool J is the killer.
Yes.
And I thought they were going over the top stupidity
100.
until I realized that Lucas used his own squibs. So LL Cool J thought she shot him, and he was now after her.
Oh.
So I thought you're pulling this on real thick of this LL Cool J.
Yeah.
Is he the killer? But it wasn't until I realized that it was Lucas shot him, the squibs himself. So LL Cool J thought Sarah shot him, and that's why he was going after her.
And Sarah thought
she was
LL
the killer,
Cool
and
J.
Sarah thought LL Cool J. Yeah.
Because I was like, why do they have such like... But it's funny because even in those conversations, Sarah still doesn't... When he's speaking, he still sounds afterwards. He still sounds like he's the killer. Like, did you notice? Yeah. So it's still... And I was like, are you still trying to sell that he's... I'm like, because he didn't shoot Lucas in
I'm
the
not
head.
saying it was perfect.
No, but like, here's the thing. That was such a clusterfuck because Sarah runs away from both of them. Lucas just runs out into the middle of the street and then squib. And it did look like that. And then Gabe walks up to him and like has a little conversation with dead Lucas. And then he goes after Sarah. And then Sarah takes off. And I'm like, so does Sarah trust no one? Like, is that what's happening?
Well, I think
have they
Sarah
all
thinks
mutually
that.
decided that they
Well, I
hate
think
each
Sarah
other?
thinks LL Cool J shot Lucas, and Lucas thinks Sarah shot Lucas. So
Yeah, but even before the shooting.
Oh, even before, yeah.
like
No,
they
like she
all
was
take
like,
off
you know
in separate
what?
directions.
There's 3 of us left.
Yeah.
Oh, actually 4 of us left because they left.
Yeah.
What's his name?
It's still back
Vince
at the ranch.
Yeah.
Because he did not want to leave.
But I think she's kind of like, you know what? Fuck this. I ain't trusting anybody.
I think that's what happens. Honestly, it gets a little muddied at that point because I was like, so you're not even going to trust your little buddy Lucas? Like, you're just like, nah, man, fuck both of y'all.
I would. Vince is trapped in a freezer after trying to reload his empty gun. In the elevator, he soon dies. Okay, yeah. So he gets stuck in the elevator while all the other stuff is going on. He has to get the table over there, gets up on the table, has to push the button to get out. And then he sees someone when the elevator doors open and goes to shoot him.
Yes. And
then backfires and his face gets blown apart.
Yes. And
another
that
great death.
Makes another really, really great death, especially the point of view that they had.
Fantastic.
The deaths are so good in this.
Like, I know other people were expecting Saw. This isn't a Saw movie. But for a serial killer thriller movie, very solid deaths.
Very,
for a
very
movie
solid.
that's like over 20 years old now.
Yeah. Honestly, the deaths still play really well.
Yeah, they really do.
I'm like, yeah, you can see the FX. We're not going to pretend that you can't, but it still plays well on the screen. You're just like, oh, okay. Yeah, no, when Vince dies, I love it. He says, oh, it's you. So you're like, okay, obviously. He seems very like okay with it and just being like, that's weird. And then he shoots him. And it's funny because his death fits with the same theme where he dies by his gun, which is his weakness because he can't go without a gun. Yep. And I'm like, man, they're still going with it. And I love it.
Yeah.
They're
They're the very lucky serial killer.
Yeah.
Like
serial killer who, well, I mean, if you really think about it, he spent a stupid amount of time with these people.
Yeah.
And they've talked about a lot of things. So I think at that point you've got the ammunition, for lack of a better word, to really set up perfect kills for them.
Mm-hmm. Sarah finds Vince's body, but Gabe ambushes her. The two fight, believing the other person is the killer. Gabe overpowers Sarah, but is then attacked by Lucas. Sarah eventually recovers and hits Sarah eventually recovers and hits Gabe with the fire extinguisher after a long Lucas and Gabe battle that sometimes looked pretty good, sometimes looked pretty bad.
I'm not going to lie to you. I had a couple points there where I was like, that's preposterous.
You should have had a stunt person for this. Because
Yeah,
you could tell where the stunt person was and where the actors were.
You could tell it was very, very choreographed. Like there were times where you were like, "Oh God, it's like you guys are dancing." Like, and you figured out the steps.
Yeah,
but there were other parts of it that were very
good,
natural and very great. And I'm like, I feel like if you guys had just rehearsed it a couple more days,
yeah, that's what I mean.
Could have been magic.
You could tell where the stunt people were.
Yeah.
So Lucas reveals that he had been wearing a bulletproof vest, allowing him to survive getting shot. With Gabe subdued, Lucas expressed doubt that there is enough evidence to prove that he was the killer. Okay, let's go back. He's like, oh my God, what are we going to do? And she's like, no problem. I knew the serial killer was, and I put the clock back 15 minutes, knowing that the serial killer would move it back up again. And I put that powder stuff on it. And she's going over to Gabe and go watch his hands light up when I put this. What is it called? The black light.
It's black light.
And long and behold, Gabe's hands don't light up, but as she turns around, Lucas's hands light up. Great line.
Very, very generously put his hand up.
Yeah. And
so that it's easily visible.
And he's like, oh, this is awkward. And that was a great line. Yeah. So it's revealed that Lucas is the killer, and they go over why he's the killer, that he actually killed his parents. And then when the cops came, he thought he was going to be questioned about why he did it. And they just offered him some gum and never assumed that it was him.
And that's why he felt the need to kill everybody.
Yeah. He's like, hey, I can keep doing this. This is awesome. Sarah, however, reveals she found a way to get one step ahead of the killer, knowing that the killer was relying on time mechanisms and remotes, as well as enjoying watching their anxiety under pressure. She changed the clock to appear slow by 15 minutes and covered it in a powder that glows phosphorescently under black light, reasoning that the killer would not be able to resist setting the clock to correct time. She grabs the black light, finding the marking powder on Lucas's hands. Yeah. Lucas confesses that his parents did not die by accident, but that he killed them. Struggling to find more thrilling targets, he joined the FBI and planned to kill his fellow profilers, the only people he thought would be worthy prey. Lucas tries to drown Sarah, who managed to kick him into the water. This was actually pretty cool when they're trying to shoot each other underwater and the bullets keep just downing.
Yes. I love that. And I love that it didn't take them that many bullets to figure out that,
it ain't going to work.
Underwater physics, this is not going to happen. So
and then go ahead.
Yeah, no. It's just Lucas kind of swims up. So does Sarah. He puts his gun above water. She puts her gun above water.
And whoever can hold their breath the most, longest.
He thinks she's afraid of the water. I got this. Little did we know, Sarah is a mermaid.
Yeah.
She could hold her breath forever.
Oh, he was starting to panic, and she's not even a flinch on her side.
She was calm, cool, and collected. Although, when they went from wider shots to tighter shots, in the wider shots, you could kind of see her either letting breath go or kind of scrunching her face. And then when they would go back to the tighter shot, serene. And I was like, ooh, if we could have had the wider shots with the serene face, this would have been even more poetic. But I like it anyways. And then poor Lucas.
Can't hold his breath any longer.
So he goes up and Sarah shoots and gets him in the neck.
Yeah. The two struggle and recover their weapons underwater, though she managed to shoot Lucas dead before he can kill her. Gabe recovers from his wounds, and when morning arrives, he and Sarah flag down a U.S. Navy helicopter to leave the island.
There is one more shot, and I love this because the first time I watched it, I had to rewind it because I was like, where the fuck does she shoot him? Because she shoots him in the neck. They get out of the water. Gabe's there. They have a conversation because Gabe comes out and throws a watch at Lucas because Lucas is,
right, yes,
talking and bleeding from his neck, which is great. And he throws a watch at him. And then as Lucas goes to grab his gun, Like he bends down to grab his gun. Sarah takes a shot. And Lucas comes up and he's looking at her. And then blood starts pouring down. And I was like, oh my God, she shot him in the top of the head. That's fantastic. Because you don't actually see the hole. You don't even really see the shot landing.
No.
It's just shot was made. And then he like looks up and then blood starts pouring down the front of his head.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's perfect.
And then he dies. And that is our movie.
Wait, there's one thing.
there's
When they're
more.
on the beach and the helicopter's coming, and Gabe, for some reason,
Oh, yeah.
asks
Okay, I know.
Sarah, when is the situation secure?
Yeah.
She's like,
that's
on the
cheesy.
ride home. That's right, on the ride home. I'm like, what the fuck? How about it's secure when everybody else is dead?
Yeah.
How about that?
When you kill the serial killer.
Yeah,
Pretty secure then.
you're good then.
And that is our movie. Your score.
Yo, I'm gonna be real honest, right? While I personally would buy this movie 100%, just because I love the ridiculousness of it. I love the 2000s-ness of it. I love that some actors are giving it realness and some actors are, I'm in a community theater set. Like, I love the dichotomies that are presented between the movie the actors think they're making and then the movie the director thinks he's making. I love all of this. And it's ridiculous and it comforts me because the kills are awesome. The acting is great and not great. The direction is great and not great. The continuity kind of sucks a little bit, but that's okay. And I like the premise. So while I personally would buy it, I'm going to tell you right now, this movie is not terrible enough to be awesome, nor is it good enough to be worth paying for. So I'm going to give it a stream it. So while it is on Prime, guys, please watch it and just see if you like it. Because this is one of those movies where I'm like, I love it. I don't know if anybody else would ever love it. It's a very niche movie. It's also dumb as shit, and I love that about it.
Yes.
What's your rating?
I agree. This has to be one of the best shitty movies I've seen in a long time. I'm beginning to really appreciate Rennie Harlan. He is a master because this movie was horrible. It had plot holes. It was so obvious. It was overacted, but it looked so good.
Yeah.
The deaths were awesome. It was fun. I really enjoyed watching this. And if you remember liking Mindhunters from 2004, you probably will like it for the nostalgia and the actual actors involved in this movie. You might like it more or like it as much for different reasons this time. I would say I would not buy a 4K. I would not buy a Blu-ray of this movie. I would, however, and did, because like Pump Up the Volume that just disappears from Prime and movies on every other streaming service can disappear whenever their contract is up. This movie is not on sale, regular price, $5 on Prime. Or $6 or $5.99 or $6, something like that. Something really low. I did buy it, and because I will watch this again. It's not going to be like tomorrow, but I will down the road watch this movie again. It is. It's not. Do not buy. This is like buy at a discount because this might be so bad it's good. I'm not. I'm torn because it's. But it's not. You see, it's not so. It's not grisly shitty. Where it's so shitty, it's glorious in all its badness. This is really well done. Shit.
I think it's one of those, like that's the weird thing. It's a well done shitty movie.
Yeah, it's a guilty pleasure.
It has great elements, like quality elements of movie making.
Yeah.
And then it has some shitty dialogue.
Yep.
What is the trap? Where is the trap? What is the trap? Where is the trap? I'm like, if you fucking ask her one more time. And like, there's things like that where you're just like, what the fuck? But then there's other things that you're like, like this is awkward line. You're like, Perfect.
Yep.
Perfect. So it's a weird, it's because it's not universally bad. And it's not so universally bad that it's good. Like it's weird. I love this movie, but I don't know if everybody else could love it.
Yeah, it is one of those things. You might watch this and go, "You two are morons."
Oh, I fully believe that there will be people who are like, "You liked this?
Yeah.
This is terrible." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know it's terrible." But
yeah, we're not
arguing
that because it is horrible.
It's so horrible.
But such well done horrible.
So well done.
Yeah. And so nostalgic and such great actors and
really great actors, very fun premise.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think if it had better dialogue, it would have made all the difference.
Oh yeah, this movie could have very easily been amazing, and it could have very easily been this is just bad and shitty and not stylish at all.
Yep.
This was a very competent director, awesome actors, in a great premise, well executed, bad storyline, plot holes, some dialogue. Yeah, it's all over the map.
Yeah, it's a random selection of movie making, and I appreciate and I love it because maybe I just enjoy the random. But it's cheesy enough that it kind of pulls at my heart because I'm like, I also, as I said, am a big fan of And Then There Were None. So I love it when people are in an isolated location and one amongst them has to be the killer.
Oh, yeah,
it's one of my favorite premises of all time.
Yeah, it's like those new ones with who's the Shakespeare guy that's now doing the Horatio.
Kenneth Branagh, and he's doing Hercule Poirot.
Yes, that's it. And he's done two of them, the Orient Express and the Nile one. Venice. And then I haven't seen The Haunting of Venice yet.
So good.
Yeah, I've been and the first two I love. So yeah, I do love those where one of them's a killer and you're isolated, and Knives Out. And the Onion one, so good.
Yes, Glass Onion, so good. It's one.
I'm not putting this movie in that category.
No.
They are not. Yeah, this movie doesn't belong anywhere near those movies.
No, it doesn't.
But same premise.
Same premise. But I mean, that's one of my favorite premises. So really, even if it's like super shitty, I still love it. Like those are my favorite books. Those are my favorite movies. I love the fact that like the enemy is among us, but we don't know who it is. And you need to find out before you die.
Yeah. So I think it's worth a discount buy. Then again, I wouldn't definitely stream it.
Yeah.
Definitely stream it and go from there.
However, if you seem to agree with us on most of our ratings, maybe you'd be a buyer for this.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't wait to watch the next Rennie Harlan movie.
Me neither.
We've only watched two.
And
I mean, we've seen way more than two, but we've done two, and Deep Blue Sea and this one. Yeah. Yeah. I can't wait to watch
two of my favorite movies. Two of my favorite movies.
By Rennie Harlan. There you go.
Who knew?
Yeah. Who knew? Yeah. So tell us in the comments below if you like Mindhunters or you think we're idiots. We get it. Yeah, we understand.
Look, it is a very, very, I don't want to say personal choice, but yes, personal choice. Because I mean, look, it's not for everybody. Not everything is for everybody. And I get that. Like,
if you're into like strong story, strong plot, strong acting, very makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah, this is not that movie. No.
Not that movie at all.
You got to let that go.
No. Although I do think if they ever remade this movie today, all it would take is basically a dialogue rewrite. And I think
you get the proper writer.
Yeah.
Oh, it could be great.
Get a proper writer, and this movie would be a huge hit.
Yeah.
100%. And it makes me so sad that it's just a shitty writer kind of took it. Because I mean, I love every other element about it.
Yeah.
Just shitty writing.
All right. Where are we here? Okay. Yeah. So that's it. I think we have you would buy it. I did buy it. I didn't pay a lot of money for it. And I wouldn't pay a lot of money for it. But yeah, it's definitely worth a stream, especially if you remember it's very 2000, early 2000s.
Yes.
The quick cuts, the music, the stylish look, and yeah.
Definitely,
it's got some
definitely
nostalgia
stream
there.
it. I think everybody should stream it. I think very few of us are going to consider it worth a buy.
All right. Well, thanks for coming back to 2004 and going over Mindhunters. And yeah, until the next movie we remember liking.
Congratulations. You just had one of your childhood movie memories vindicated. Or they just eviscerated it. I don't know. This is a generic one-size-fits-all type of ending to the podcast. So thank you for listening, and please join Anna and Jimmy next time for another episode of the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. If you dare to go back and watch that movie you remember liking,